It's Jim at Thunderbolt Locks, and we're here today to show you a new Ford Transit installation of Thunderbolt locks on the rear and side sliding door. I want to provide some installation tips and locations for the components when you're doing the installation. The first thing you want to do is download the templates that we have available on our website for the installation of the bolt housing. So once you have the template cut out, you're going to locate the main hole to drill the housing. Once you line that up, you're going to mark the hole here, and that's going to be the center point to drill your main 7/8 hole for your housing to fit in. So once you have that hole located, you'll want to start by finding a location for the case assembly. We installed it into the opening where a factory speaker would go. This is a good spot to do it, but if you have the optional speaker from Ford, this case will actually fit on an angle right in this area where your two brackets will mount off to the side. So once you mount the case, you will be able to loop the installation, the housing cable from the back over the top, and it will come out this hole that you drilled on the edge of the door. From there, your manual release knob is going to route from the front of the case. It will loop with a nice soft bend and come up and mount into this area. You'll drill your 3/8 hole and secure this release in place. Once you are ready to connect the wires, the motor wires that you need are located in a factory 2-pin plug that plugs right into the latch. So there's a clip on the side. You push the button, you release that plug, and you have your two wires, and you'll see that we tap the blue and green into the corresponding wires for the factory latch motor wires. So once those are secured, you can plug that back in. At that point, your housing cable will be coming through this hole. You will thread the housing onto that cable and slide it into the door. The metal on the edge of the door for the Ford Transit is thick enough where you don't need the backer plate that comes with the lock itself. So you can choose to use it, but the metal's thick enough where you don't need it on this application. Once you slide this housing into place, you're going to mark the two mounting holes. You could temporarily use the provided self-tapping screws and secure this housing in place. And once you know that the operation is correct, you can remove those screws one at a time and install the rivets for a permanent mount on the housing itself. Once you have this door complete, you're going to want to install the raised strike plate bracket. And this is the bracket that the bolt slides into on the mating door. This bracket is going to come with two small pieces of putty that you will install on the back side so you can temporarily hold this in place. So to do this, you would close both doors, you would put the strike plate in place, and then activate the bolt. At that point, you'll be able to square or center this strike plate over the bolt and press it up against this surface, and it should stay there. And then you will drill your temporary self-tapping screw into one of the holes, and then you go back and check it again to make sure that it's lined up. At that point, add a second self-tapper and check it again to make sure you're still square and lined up. And then you can install the other two, test it a third time. Once you like it, remove and then install the small head rivets to secure this in place permanently. That will complete the rear door installation on a Ford Transit. Next, we're going to install the deadbolt lock into the sliding side door. So you'll start off with your template for the sliding door, and you will position the template in place to get your location for your hole. Mark that, and then you're going to drill your 7/8 hole for the housing. Once that's done, you'll go to the inside of the door. You can see that the location for the case fits nicely right in this center opening of the door itself. We mount this case with the cables reversed so that our housing cable comes out the front. There's a loop, and it extends through the hole that you drilled in the door. And the manual release cable comes from the back and loops up. We like to keep this manual release knob further back in this door so that if there's any type of a gap on the bulkhead, someone's not able to reach in past and actually manually unlock that. The wiring for the sliding side door is located in this harness that runs forward to the spring-loaded switches. They're contact switches that are located on the front side of the door. They're in this harness. And only when the door is closed will you get a power connection to come through this door. So when you're testing it, you need to have the door closed completely to be able to test the lock and the unlock functions for this door itself. Once the case is installed on the inside, we're going to want to mark the location of where the bolt is going to strike into this C-pillar. So in order to achieve this location, we're going to come to the bolt itself once it's been installed, and you're going to use the provided marking gum, and you're going to put a small piece of the marking gum right on the center tip of this bolt. You'll retract the bolt. The marking gum will be on the tip. You will close the door, and on the inside, at the manual release knob, you're going to apply light pressure. And once you apply light pressure to this, it will transfer the marking gum from the tip of the bolt to the exact location on the C-pillar. You've got a lot of leverage here, but you don't want to press hard because you could damage any mechanism on the inside if you force that. That bolt has nowhere to go. So just by applying light pressure, it transfers the mark to the C-pillar, and you will have the exact location that your bolt is going to strike into. Once you have that location, you're going to drill the hole, the 7/8 hole, all the way through. At that point in time, I would close the door and I would check the full operation of that manual release, making sure that the bolt is lined up correctly with the hole. Once it is, you will take your strike plate and you will install it over the hole, and it's just there to finish that outside surface itself. You can see that we've riveted this in place, and again, we recommend riveting all of the components into place once you have the installation completed. It's very simple to remove each of the temporary screws one at a time and install the supplied rivets and secure those in place. If you have any questions, contact us at thunderboltlocks.com.